So, once again, today is a way, and no, I don't even want you to start by taking notes, and that's weird for me, huh? I am asking you not to take notes for right now, just on this first part. So, really quick, actually take this part down. X squared minus 9x plus 11. Okay, as I look at this, what's an option for me to solve this equation? What have we done in the past? We've done factoring and solving by square roots, which is pretty much completing the square, correct? And this one can't factor, because what's the factors of 11? 1 and 11, and that doesn't get me to 9, does it? So I can't do it that way. Would I want to complete the square with this one? Why? Because my middle number is an odd number, right? I don't want to play around with a fraction. I don't want to complete the square. I don't want to cut 9 in half. Yes, ma'am? So factoring is when you have two little hippo butts. 1 times the 11, the factors of 11, rewrite the thing if you could, but we can't. Yes. Okay. So, they saw this cannot factor and completing the square isn't fun, right? So here's the part that you don't need to take notes on. So what they did is they said, okay, here is the general case of a quadratic, correct? Isn't that the general case? Everybody needs to pay attention though, so don't do your homework because it should have already been done. Okay? Now what I'm going to show you is they said, okay, we're going to leave these as variables because these variables just represent numbers, right? I don't expect you guys to do this. Just to let you know, I don't expect you guys to do this. I do expect you to know the formula. I'm going to teach you a way to memorize it very simply. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to solve this still by completing the square, but I'm going to keep it in variables. That's why I'm not asking you to write it down because I don't expect you to know how to do this yet. But here's the process. This C value, we usually just subtract them over normally, like the 11 would subtract them over the square, wouldn't we? Right? So I'm going to do that. Okay? Everybody there with me? Now, the next part is we couldn't complete the square unless this was a 1, right? So what do I have to do? I have to factor out that a, correct? So I pull out a, I'm left with this. Now once again, not asking you guys to just follow along, understanding that I'm doing the process. Now, I'm going to get this a over here, so I'm going to divide it. So now I'm here. Everybody good for that? See where we're at there? Okay. So how do I complete the square? Well, if you remember, I cut this guy in half. What's half of him? B over 2a. What do you guys have heard? B over 2a. Okay, the x value of the vertex. Close, right? It was actually negative b over 2a, and I'll show you where that comes from. But that's something that we've heard before, right? And that's where this is coming from. Okay, so that's b over 2a. And then what do we do after we cut the things in half? We square them, don't we? So the part that completes the square would be b squared over 4a squared. That part completes the square. But what I do to one side, I got to do to the other, don't I? Does that make sense to everyone? So therefore, I'm going to add b squared over 4a squared. Is everybody good with that? Why is the b squared? Because remember, just like when I did problem number 2 over here on the board, it was negative 8. I cut that guy in half, right? And then I square it. Isn't that the process? So I cut b over a in half, which is b over 2a. And I square it, b squared is b squared. 2a times 2a is 4a squared. You with me there? Yeah. And remember, what goes in the binomial here? X plus whatever you got the half value, correct? Is everybody with me there? becomes b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. Because I got a common denominator. So then, I want to solve for x. Because once again, I wanted to find a way that got me to solve for x every time. So I still want to solve for x. So I just take the square root. Square root. When I take the square root, I got to do plus or minus, don't I? Correct? So now I'm at x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, now x is not by itself yet, so last step, I'm personally going to subtract negative b, so now it's minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Because they have the same denominator, here is the equation that I need to know. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I expect you to memorize this. And it's very simple. You might be laughing.
I got a question. Is the b negative, or the negative b also being divided by
Yes,
2a?
yes, sir. See how it's right there?
Okay.
Okay, this is important. This is what you need to write down. This is today. This is the assignment today, is using this form.
Would you go up a little bit and I take a picture of this go on?
Well, it's not going to all fit.
But what looks the worst? Like right there. Take the purple, like put the square roots. Or no, where the black versus x, a little more. No, less. Yeah, go that way. A little more. Yeah, right there. It's terrible.
Just because I like you.
Thank you.
And this is like, you're going to tell your mom, look what I've been doing today, mama. Maybe not. Anyway. Okay, what was that equation that I started with that I could not factor? Or I didn't really want to do the quadratic formula. What was it? It was x squared plus 11. Once again, this guy was not easily done. Next time I see it out, it goes to the office and I'm get it. Okay. Just want to make sure you're doing that. Okay, so I got a question for you. Since this is a quadratic, can somebody tell me what my a value is?
X, no, 1.
1. What's my b value? We've already done this before, right?
Negative 9.
Negative 9. What is my c value? Does everybody understand? If you don't understand where this comes from, you will not be able to do today. So if you do not, please ask a question. Remember, A, B, C. Okay, now how many of you guys are nervous about memorizing this? Okay, you guys ready? I'm going to show you what my teacher did that still to this day, 17 years after I've learned it, I still do to this day. I sing it. Okay? It might sound silly, but I do. She dressed up as a weasel that day. And I will never forget this day because it's part of my career, right? It's something that I've learned and I still continually use. Okay? It's called the quadratic formula. This is what this is called, is the quadratic formula. You got one to write that down? Quadratic formula.
I'd rather just do this with fractions.
Actually, you'll see how easy this is. It's a very simple thing. Okay, I promise. I wouldn't teach you something that would be hard. Yes. 4ac. Is that what you were looking for? Okay. All right, you guys ready? All right, here's what I do. This is what my teacher did. And this is why we have this. Ready? Goes to pop, goes to weasel. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? And it's silly, but every time I write this, I still sing the stupid song because it works. So now you're going to sing it with me. And if you don't want to sing with me right now, I'll make you do a solo. So I would suggest you sing as the group. Okay, you ready? Everybody's gonna do it. We're gonna sing it. Just have the tune of Pop Goes the Weasel, plus or minus, and you just read exactly what this is. Okay, ready? I'm gonna sing with you. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Look at everybody singing. His mouth was moving. He might have been lip syncing, but it is what it is. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to sing if you would like to sing with me. This is still, once again, I guarantee it. I have a letter. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It works, and I promise. If you, every time you write it down, at first you're not going to be able to do it right off the bat, right? You're going to have to look at it. But every time you write it down, you sing it at the same time, it'll become ingrained a lot faster. Okay? It is something I'm expecting you guys to memorize by our test, which is next Wednesday for you guys. Okay? Here we go. We're going to solve it. So, here we are. Here's my equation. And now it's just a plug and chug. It's very simple. So I say, even when I plug and chug, I sing it. X equals negative, what's my b value? 9. Negative 9, so that's a negative negative. Does that make sense? Plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4a is 1, c is 11, all over 2 times 1. I sing it even as I plug it in. Was that hard to do the plugging in, guys? Because you can't, that's pretty simple. This is order of operations. This is what you've learned since 6th or 7th grade now. Yes, you can do that. I just wanted to show people where I'm going to get my from. A negative negative does become a 9, right? Plus or minus, I have to work within here. What is negative 9 squared? 81, right? Minus 4 times 1 times 11. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 11 is 44. Anybody have a question here so far? Sorry. You could do it on your own, though, as you look. All over 2. And this equals x. Okay? We're not done yet, because this isn't simplified here, right? So now I have x equals 9 plus or minus square root of 81 minus 44 is 37, I believe. All over 2. That's it.
That's it.
That's my answer.
You want to simplify it down?
I can't.
Yeah, you can. No, you can't. Never mind.
Because what's 37? 37 is actually a prime number, huh? So I can't break him down. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say about that? I can't break him down because it is a prime number. So, just something to be aware of. Notice, what is this value? It's 37, but this is positive, right? How many solutions did I get? How many answers? I actually got 2. 9 plus root 37 divided by 2. And 9 minus root 37 divided by 2. So technically I have 2 real answers. Okay? I'm going to come back to this in just a while, but does everybody understand that? If it's positive here, I came out with 2 positive real answers. You guys ready to try another one? Okay, here we go. Let's try another one. X squared plus 6x plus 4 equals So first off, is this set equal to 0? So I can't find my A, B, and C until it's equal to 0. Okay? So therefore, what do I need to do? Add the 13. Are we okay with that? Okay. X squared plus 6x plus 17 equals... Okay. So then, I say to myself, what do I need to do? First off, I know this would not factor. Why would this not factor? Factors of 17 are 1 and 17. Do they add to be 6? Could I complete the square with this? I could, because it's an even number. That's not too hard, huh? You guys mind if I hurry and do that really quickly, just to show you I get the same answer either way? I'm going to hurry quickly, so don't worry about it. So this is x squared plus 6x, balancing purposes. Okay. What the heck is all that? Somebody's shining a light on me. Equals negative 17. Balancing purposes, this would be 9, so I would add 9. So this would be x plus 3 squared equals negative 8. Okay, take the square root. I'm just showing you what answers I would get. X plus 3 equals plus or minus 2i root 2, because I took the square root of 8. Don't worry about that right now. And so I get x equals negative 3 plus or minus 2i root 2. That's what answer I should get in the end. Okay? Is everybody there with me? Now, it is the way you could solve any time you want, no matter what. It doesn't have any restrictions. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The faster you do math, like the more you do it, you're going to get better at doing factoring. And to me, factoring is very simple. I would prefer to do factoring over the quadratic or square rooting if I could. But you can't always factor every time, so you got to find different methods. Does that answer your question? Okay, so coming back up here, everybody see that x is our a value is 1, our b value is 6, our c value is 17. Does everybody see that? So once again, what was our a value? B value was 6, C value was 17, correct? Okay, I'm going to write the quadratic formula. When you write it down, guys, I'm not kidding. If you're seeing it as you write it, it's going to help you out. Okay? Here it is. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay. Write it down. And it helps. The more you do it, the better it's going to become, right? On next time's Bell Quiz, I expect you to have this already memorized. Not hard. Okay, now it's a plug and chug. I have x equals negative, what's my b? 6 plus or minus the square root 36, thank you, because that's b squared, right? B squared would be 36 minus 4 times 1 times 17 all over 2 times 1, which is 2, right? Does everybody see where I'm at here? I'll wait. I have negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 72, right? Is it 72? I went 4 times 1 times 17. Oh, shit, that was way off. I apologize. That was 4 off.
Isn't it plus?
No, because I have minus 4 times 1 times 17.
Why is it minus?
That's part of the equation.
Oh, you think it's plus?
Yeah, you must have wrote it down. So 4 times 1 times that is 68. All over 2. I'll make sure everybody has the same
Can
one.
you go up one?
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Or do you want the next part of it? Okay, so this is now negative 6. By the way, this is equal to x here, right? I forgot to do this. Negative 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 32 over 2. So now I need to break down 32, don't I? What's in 32? Can anybody help me? I'm going to do 2 and 16. What's in 16? 4 and 4. I'm going to go there just because it's easier. I already got buddies here, don't I? Buddies. Okay. So now I'm at x equals -6 plus or minus. The 4 gets to come out, but because he's negative, it's 4i. Does everybody understand why 4i is there? Root 2 over 2.
Wait, why don't you do the fours themselves?
I could, but if I already see a pair, I might as well stop. Does that make sense to you?
Wait, so the four is going to come out?
Yep, he came out. The 2 had to stay up there.
4i?
Because he's negative. Remember, square root of a negative number was imaginary? Okay, now notice, guys, this is good review of not quite. Because what does this guy, that guy, and that guy all have in common? A 2. So I'm going to plot a 2 out of all of them. -6 divided by 2 is -3. 4 divided by 2 is 2i. Do not look into what's under the radical. You cannot reduce the bottom in the radical. You cannot do that. See how this 2 and this 2 is here? You can't say, oh, that's just 1.
Well, isn't that the square root divided by 2?
Square root of 2 divided by 2.
Yeah, so...
So you can't do that, but some people try. So,
I know, but if it's dividing by 2, should you simply be done?
oh, that's why I did 2. 4 divided by 2.
No, I know. If you're going to divide everything, shouldn't the square root of 2?
This is one number.
Okay.
Say again?
So you divided -6 by 2.
2
That's
and,
how you got everything.
yes ma'am. Notice, is this what I had on the previous one I went ahead and did completing the square? I got the same answer, didn't I? Okay, now notice, I want to show you something. What came out here? A negative number. Okay, last time it was a positive number and I had 2 real solutions, didn't I? Okay, this time it's a negative number. How many solutions do I have? I have 2 again, but they are imaginary. Isn't this an imaginary number? So I have -3 plus 2i root 2 and -3 minus 2i root 2. So if it comes out negative, you're going to have 2 imaginary solutions. This is going to come up in just a minute as I get to your teaching. Give me 1 second. Okay, last one, I'm going to have you guys do it. Okay?
Wait.
What?
We're just going to solve it. Nothing different, is it? It's just a quadratic, right? It might be a 9, but it's still a quadratic. Okay, so is it equal to 0? It's not equal to 0, so therefore I need to make it equal to 0 first before I can do anything. So I am at 9x squared minus 30x plus 25 equals 0. You're okay there? All right. Can I factor this? Actually, just whatever you want to do. On the test, seriously, I'm not even going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to say solve. Yeah. You want to know how well, this is the only way you can tell. This would be 225. The factors of 225, you're going to go through those, figure out which gives you a pair of, which I think is 75. Is it -30? Yeah, it is -30. So I think it's, I don't remember what it is. Anyway, as you go through it, you guys kill me. There would be a pair. It does factor, I'm just telling you. And I'm going to show you how I know it again by doing quadratic formula that it does factor. I I would not solve this one by complete square. I would not, flat out. If there's anyone that has a variable out here, just to let you know on your test, I would solve by complete square. If there's a number in front of my x squared, that's extra work. Just leave it alone and do quadratic. Or that. If you wanted to, you could do quadratic every problem. But like I said, it's not always the best.
Which one did you find? What was it?
So what's our A value?
Wait, the quadratic
Formula.
Okay.
A is 9, B is negative 30, C is 25,
Whoa.
right?
Is that a negative 30 in the entire time? I feel like
So when you're doing a quadratic formula, when it just be 30 because it's already negative b into it.
So when I go into it, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to write down the equation, but I'm going to sing it as I plug in my numbers, because I still do that when I do this. X equals negative 30, which as you said is 30, plus or minus square root of b squared, which is negative 30 times negative 30, which is 900, minus 4 times 9 times 25. I do 4 times 9, which is 36, and if I had 36 quarters, I would have $9. All over 18.
Wait.
So 2 times A. 2 times A, and our A value is 9.
It's gonna be 900.
So yes, like we just said, this value is 900, right? So what does that come out to be?
Wait, why is it
It's 2 times A. So now I'm at 30 plus or minus square root of 0. 4 times 9 times 25. All over 18.
How is it much square root of 0?
Yeah, what is the square root of 0? Well, put it in your calculator. That works.
It's a 0.
0. What times itself is 0? 0. So now I'm at 30 plus or minus 18 over 18. Oh, that was 0. Sorry.
Wait, why is that just
It was a 0. I accidentally missed it. Nope. Why is that not my answer? You could have equals x.
Wait, so
Divide them all by 2. 3.
Well, what's 30 plus 0? 30, and 30 divided by 18. So I'm going to go, okay, that equals 30 divided by 18. What does this guy and this guy share? A 6, right? So that's 5 thirds. Okay, so that's one answer, 5 thirds. What's 30 minus 0? 30 minus 0 is negative 30? If you have $30 in the bank, you spend no money, you're still at 30, right? I'm just making sure. 30 minus 0 is 30. 30 divided by 18 is 5 thirds, so there's only one answer. Okay, so notice. Look what's underneath the square root. What number? 0. And notice how many solutions you come up with. 1. So, that leads us into our next part of our lesson, which we're basically done with our lesson. I'm just going to show you something. Okay. You want to know what the graph looks like on that? Here's 1, here's 2, 5 thirds, and 1 right there. Touches it once. Why? You only have one answer because you only have one x-intercept. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've been trying to instruct you this on this part right here, which is called the discriminant. What? Discriminant. And the discriminant is the part that's underneath the square root in the quadratic formula. What is that part? B squared minus 4ac. That is called the discriminant.
That's just like the answer.
Oh, wait.
Is that the thing that's under the thing?
Huh? So you've already learned it. You just got to know that's called the discriminant. Does that make sense? What 3 types did we have? We had the discriminant when it equaled what? A positive number, huh? Okay, so when the discriminant is greater than 0, how many solutions did we come up with? Look at it. Go back to the one that was, I don't remember what the number was underneath the square
We
root.
have two answers.
We have two, what kind of answers?
Bad one.
Two real ones, right? They weren't positive, they could be negative numbers, but they were two real numbers. If your discriminant is greater than 0, you're going to have two real solutions. Okay, what is the other kind that we had? Okay, I'm going to go to equal 0 first. And then less than 0.
There's going to be one, and there's going to be two.
So when we had one that was equal to 0, how many solutions did we have? One real solution. I should say solution. And when your discriminant was less than 0, we had no real, but we had what? How many? You imagine. And those are what you're going to be asked on your homework a little bit today, is just how many solutions are you going to have? So do you have to go all the way and solve? You just got to find the discriminant and tell me. If it's positive, that tells you you're going to have two real solutions. If it is negative, you're going to have no real solutions. And that should make sense, because where is the b squared minus 4ac? It's underneath a radical, isn't it? And what's the square root of a negative number? Imaginary. Right? If I have a square root of 0, what's the square root of 0? 0. So just like our previous example, we go 30 plus 0 and 30 minus 0. That's the same darn number, isn't it? So hence, you're going to have one solution. And if it's positive, you're going to have 30 plus something and 30 minus something, which gives you two answers. Does that make sense where these guys come from? Yep. The only thing I would like you guys to do, we have 10 minutes, I would like you guys to all try one with me. Okay? We're all just going to do one, all by yourself. I'm going to write up here, because if you can't do it in this classroom, good luck at doing it at home, right? So I want to see where people are maybe having some mistakes, so I can walk around. Okay? It's going to come out to be nice numbers. I'm going to make it nice. Okay, there it is. I would like everybody to solve this equation by the quadratic formula, which is what we did today. I would like, here we go.
Wait.
I'm just going to do it. A, B, C. So x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. All over 2 times 2, right?
Yeah.
How many of you guys can at least plug and chug?
I did that.
As I walked around, some of you guys forgot your plus or minus in here. There was just more than you. So make sure it's in there. Okay. So now, order of operations. This is the part that's going to kill you. Okay? 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Times a negative 6 is negative 48. Minus a minus becomes a positive. So I'm at
49.
negative 1 plus or minus 1 plus 48, which is root 49 over 4. And then I had a lot of people say, Mr. Roberts, is this right? Yes and no. Is it right?
Yes.
Yes. Is it finished?
No.
No. That's where the yes and the no comes in.
How is it not?
Now, that's negative 1 plus or minus 7, because I know what the square root of 49 is, over 4. And then, just like you did, Cade, you went negative 1 plus 7, which is 6, over 4. So that's where the 3 halves comes in. Negative 1 minus 7 is negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. There's my answers. Oh, excuse me, 4 should be negative 2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on the top of your assignment, the first part, this is what I am looking for. What is the discriminant of this value? Can anybody tell me, looking at this?
1 minus 4.
What's the discriminant? It's the part underneath the radical. It is 49. How many solutions should I have because of my discriminant being positive? 2 real. That's all you have to do on 1 through 4 is say, my discriminant is 49. Because of that, I have 2 real answers. Then the rest of them, you're just solving. Okay? 1 through 4.
Wait,
Negative 8 because negative 1 minus 7.
So you don't even have to solve for the first ones?
Nope, because if I have negative $1 and I spend 7 more, I'm at negative $8.
But you don't have to solve for the first one? You don't have to solve all the way?
I'm just telling you discriminant because it asks you to find the value of the discriminant, which is the 49. And then it asks you how many solutions can you get because of the discriminant.